What's going on, everybody? This is your boy DJ Anonymous with Sports Biz Music, the podcast, episode 82, and I got a special guest on the show today. I have my man Greg Watermann. How you doing, man?
What's going on? Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. This is cool.
Nah, thank you for coming on the show because I know you have a very busy schedule and whatnot.
Always moving.
So for the people, because I know a lot of people know about you, but there's some people, especially in my generation, that don't really know of you. Can you give like a little introduction to the people?
Sure. I'm a music photographer. I do that for a living. That's my job. That's what I've been doing for a long time now. I started photography professionally back in the 80s as a fashion photographer in New York City, and just kind of segued from that into shooting portraits and started shooting for Rolling Stone and Spin. Shot Nirvana for their first major U.S. magazine cover back in 91. That cover dropped literally right as their album knocked Michael Jackson Bad out of the #1 spot. The same week that happened, my cover was on the newsstand, so that couldn't have been better timing for everybody. So that was cool. And then I really got more into music and focused on that. Enjoyed that more, and I was really better at it ultimately at the end of the day than shooting fashion. So 20 years ago, I moved to New York City. Are you going to cut this up?
No, it's raw.
Anyway, it's raw. Okay, yeah, 20 years ago, I moved from New York City to Los Angeles to shoot music exclusively, and that's what I've been doing for the last couple of decades, although a month ago I just moved to Miami Beach, and now I'm here.
That's what's up, man. So, like, before we get into the questions, like, tell us about the beginnings, like, what made you want to pick up a camera?
My dad was a photographer, an amateur photographer, so was my grandfather, so they always had cameras when I was a really, really little kid, and I was always sort of, those were, I'm going to date myself. I'm 57 years old. Back then, there was one person in your family, however big your family or your crew or whatever it was, there was one person that had a camera. And there was one person that understood the math and the science and you got to do this and then you got to do this and then you got to do this if it's like that, but if it's like this, then you got to do that. There was one person in your group that could do that, and that person did that. And I don't know, when I was a little kid, I always thought that was cool. I thought it would be cool to be that person later. And so I got a camera as a present when I was a little kid, and I just immediately moved towards that. And that was just been my thing my whole life. It was just always important to me. And it took over, and other things that were more important became less important. And after everything that I've been through, my camera's still in my hand now.
So you still have the first camera that you ever had?
I have not the same one, but I have the same. I found one on eBay for $1. My original camera myself, I completely took apart because I wanted to understand how it worked. And of course, it was all plastic and springs and easy to take apart, but it's not coming back together again ever. So that was too bad for my camera. But I got another one on eBay for $1, so I have a replica of it. So yes,
that's what's up. So tell us describe the life of a photographer, because I know y'all very all over the place, and y'all have different tasks and objectives you have to do, especially working with different musicians and celebrities. Like, how is that like?
Especially working with musicians and celebrities, it's constantly changing. And the biggest thing that you have to be prepared for is not only that plans change instantly, but it's better to not even have plans in the first place.
Right.
I've actually sort of made my style kind of on just going with the flow. And you put me in a situation and you need great images out of that, end of story.
Right.
That's what I do. That's who I am. And if that's what you need, I'm the guy that you call for that. And I'm cool with that. Other people, approach things differently, but that's my thing. I've found that works better for musicians too, because they don't like plans, they don't like time schedules. They're going to be here then, but they only show up at, and so, yeah, better to be loose.
And you also known as the Rockstar Photographer. Did you give yourself that name, or?
Yeah, but but I want to clarify. It's not because I'm a rock star myself. It's because the people that I shoot are rock stars. And that's important in the sense that, people notice that I shoot actually a wide genre of people. Like currently I'm System of a Down's photographer, I'm Pitbull's photographer. I've been working with Toby Keith for about 10 years. I've done, I don't know how many covers for him. That's 3 completely separate genres of music, and those are just my 3 main clients. Before that, I was Linkin Park's photographer for 6 years and rolled with them all over the place. So yeah, heavy metal, rap, country, just straight up pop, old school, classic, brand new, whether you're 18 or, I've shot people 80 years old, celebrities 80 years old. And the thing about all of them is they're all rock stars in their own right. And the music doesn't matter as much as that energy does. And that's why I think I wound up becoming a music photographer more than anything else. They're like the flame and I'm that moth.
Right.
It's like I'm drawn to that energy, that thing that they have that enables them to walk out on stage in front of 100,000 people and completely keep their thing together.
Right.
Because I can't even give a book report in school. I was used to get nervous. But anyway, I'm blown away and impressed by that energy. So rock star, period. It doesn't matter who you are. Politician, musician, artist of any kind, major businessman, if you've got that thing going on, I'm going to recognize that and make that an issue in my photos.
Well, that's what's up, man. So, how is it, working with your clients, with Pitbull and System of the Down and Toby? What's the day-to-day basis working with them?
Well, again, you have to be ready for everything. You can't, you have a schedule that you assume that you're going to be on based on what's happened prior. Today we're going to be doing this and this and this and probably this and this. And usually that's fine. But every now and then I'll get a phone call or an email or a text message. And I'm not thinking that we're going to have anything to do until some later time. And it's all of a sudden need you right now. And that can be at 3 in the afternoon, but it can also be at 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever all else. So that's the first thing. But otherwise, there is if you're on tour, then you're for sure you've got a set schedule because you arrive at the next city, somewhere around noon, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The crew's already been unloading the stage. You wake up, you will run. Once the gear is set up, the band sound checks. You're there for sound check, and that's a good place to take pictures too. You can shoot, But then the other thing that I do is I'll walk the stage, and I'll be like, okay, this will be a good place to take a picture of him when he does this. And that one song that we're trying to get that's brand new, where I need a great shot of the drummer in that one part in the break, this is where I'm going to be for that because I know I can get it. Because sometimes the stage is the same. Like if you're on an arena tour, you're American Airlines Arena one day, and then you're at another arena in New York, then it's probably almost the same thing because they're setting it up in the same hole, the same space, every city, because basketball arenas are kind of the same as far as that space on the floor.
Right.
But if you're in a different place, like you're in theaters, or you're in an amphitheater outside, or you're in a stadium, or like in South America, sometimes we're in soccer stadiums. And then you're talking about a whole other thing, or you're at Wembley in London.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, during sound check, I walk around the stage and I can see good, bad, no, yes. These are good places to stay. I'll also talk to the tech people. Is there going to be any fire tonight? Do we have pyro? I need to know when that's going to go and when that's going to be.
So you have to know, if there's pyro, when it, going back when you was talking about, you got to know, the numbers and, the techniques and stuff, shooting a photo, taking a picture, that's what you need to know, so you'll know, what type of angle, what type of,
Sure, and that stuff all comes from experience, and that's, after me doing what I've been doing for decades now, that's one of the things that I bring to the table, is because I've been doing it that long. So yeah, the science of photography is still important, especially at the level that I'm doing it at. I mean, yes, I could pull my phone out of my pocket and go click in video and post and whatever all day long. I could do that, and I have if I need to or whatever. But if I'm using a really high quality professional camera and exactly the lens that I want, and I've got 10 dials and 10 more buttons on that camera, and I can control every single tiny little thing that I want to do, yeah, it makes a difference. And then the other thing is, just on a side note, half of everything I do now is video.
Okay, so
half.
It's funny that you said that because you've been working since the 80s. Nowadays, especially with social media, a lot of people want to see more visuals. You don't have to necessarily even be like full videos, 3 minute, 4 minute videos, but at least about a minute of clips. Like,
yeah.
How did you manage to, I guess, stay during the time? Because I know there's some people out here that kind of still do even things from like the 90s. Like, how did you stay with the current times?
I was a late adopter to digital. I kept shooting film a lot longer than most people did, primarily for 3 reasons. One, I was shooting it. I was shooting film until it wasn't better anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I was just shooting film because it was better than digital. My clients had the budget for it. They didn't mind paying for film and processing. True fact, when I was touring with Linkin Park and working with them, everything I shot for them was film. I was spending $2,000 a day on film and processing. On tour, $2,000 a day. You can buy a nice camera for that now, but that was before digital existed.
Right.
Okay, but anyway, I was shooting film until 2005. I switched when they finally. Can I get super technical about photography?
Of course, because I know some upcoming.
Yeah, people are paying attention. That's good. In 2005, Canon was the first camera manufacturer to come out with a full-frame 35mm sensor. All the other manufacturers using a cropped sensor. I didn't want to get into that. I wanted to shoot the same size as I was shooting film. So that's when I switched in 05. When they came out with that sensor, I completely switched to digital, immediately stopped right there. Then, because I had already been doing a little bit of video work on the side for bands like Mudvayne, for Sony Music in the early 2000s, I had already been traveling a little bit with like a camera bag and a video bag, which is a pain. When you're the only guy doing that, you got to carry 2 bags, and so the whole time I was like, you know what, eventually somebody's going to make a camera that does both of these things. Yeah. And so I just I don't know when that's going to be, but I kept doing the camera and 2 cameras thing, and then lo and behold, in 2008, we got a really high quality, cinema quality Canon Mark D, Canon 5D Mark II, and it was like, wow. Okay, and yeah, I bought that camera just like everybody else did, and newsflash, video is more important than photography. More people watch videos than spend time looking at pictures, and I knew that ahead of time, and I saw that coming, and I focused on it, and now half of everything I do is video, and I've got videos, especially because of Pitbull, I'm at billions of views now, because I was one of the cameras on Timber with that's Pitbull and Kesha. That's got over 1 billion views.
Yeah, that's one. I remember that song.
Yeah. Massive hit, great video, lots of fun. We shot it on location in the Bahamas. It was amazing. Feel This Moment, Pitbull and Christina Aguilera. I'm the primary camera on that video. That's at 900-something million views right now.
How
and I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, like how is it like working like doing videos, like doing music videos? Like, is a day process, a couple of days, a week? Like, it
totally depends. Most of the videos that I do are behind the scenes, and that's how I kind of got the segue into video in the first place, because I was a documentary music photographer. People hire me to go on the road, or when they're in a recording studio, whatever they're doing, they wanted pictures of it. That's what I got hired to do. Well, then once I had the ability to do video, I can do this too. I started getting hired to do that, and I was doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff for System of a Down, all the behind-the-scenes stuff for Pitbull, and then after working on a couple of behind-the-scenes videos, I don't even remember which one the first one was, but it was a Pitbull video, and he was really impressed with my footage, my behind-the-scenes footage. He liked the way that it looked. It had a different thing to it, and he wanted that footage added to his official video. So they did that, and like, wow, look, my video footage is in there. It looks cool, and you can't tell the difference, and great. So then another video came up. It was Pitbull, Robin Thicke on singing, Joe Perry from Aerosmith on guitar, and no shit, Travis Barker on drums from Blink-182. Wow. The 4 of them, like, what an unlikely pair. Pitt comes up with the concept. He goes, for the video for this, I want Greg to shoot it, David Rousseau to direct it, and I want it to be like total documentary of everything we did that week. So that was a week long of shooting, like everything, performing it on television, flying on the jet, at Premios Nuestro here. It was just like a week-long party with that song playing everywhere, and I was documented all of it. Even Joe Perry playing on the plane while we were traveling somewhere, and we were just like a party in the sky.
Is it on like YouTube?
Oh yeah. It's on my website. It's on YouTube. Just Pitbull Bad Man. You'll find it. Yeah. I shot that. It was so directed. It was awesome, and it was just me doing my thing. And yeah, that took a week. But then there are other times when I do that and I get it knocked out in a couple of hours. So it depends on the situation. Another band, the Struts, a British band, young guys that I've been